22nd, be there. She was March, be there 1 o'clock. Neither of those days. Another time, so the first section starts at 8:15, and the second section starts at 10:15. To the gift tours, many board members, those 2 days. And she plans on doing it also early next spring, and then also after the new board members come on in December, March, as a whole, like the plan today, to work around schedule just to have time for March, anytime next year. And other than the normal business, that'll be my report.
Right, thank you. And that's probably report. So moving on, we're going to move into programs at this point. We have 2 programs this evening. So Mr. Fox, the independent construction with that. Your presentation. The board members want to sit up in the front row of the boards. Please here.
Yeah, we'll take care of it electronically. Which one? First. The first one.
Just for the public, just the cost of this independent excavator. That company is in the Virgin District. Back in June. The company's doing a lot of work. First, moving in preparation for the fall thing project. And he's going to talk to the board about things what the company's going to do with the dirt that things brought over the street.
Speaking of this.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Justin. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it. Last time I was here, we had some less formal concepts of what we were going to do. Since then, we've worked to get it a little bit more formalized and have a pretty good idea. This is what I would refer to as the last pad. The way it's sketched in here now is a roughly 150 by 150 parking lot, asphalt parking lot. Still leaves a lawn space. And I have sketched in here a field, multi-purpose field that's roughly 400 by 220, roughly the size of a full-size soccer field.
Just for record.
Yeah.
That is the September part.
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
And then a little field in softball.
Yeah. This is Officer Brooks' way coming in here. And here's a little parking lot. Now, I don't mind at all. Is that better? Okay, it's all right. Okay. I usually get chastised for yelling. So, okay. So, in doing so, we would need to have a sediment and erosion control pond here, and just have that sketched in. Not a very big pond, but that's required to catch the surface runoff from what would become this parking lot. Again, this is the western pad. It's going to generate roughly 3.5 flat acres. And there'll be a gentle slope down to the east pad. And I have a very, very rudimentary sketch in here of what would fit a baseball and softball field. This would theoretically be a home plate. From here to here is 300 feet. From here to here is 280. And from here to center field, I think it's 350, I think what I've drawn. And I just made a note so there was some perspective there. The other adjacent fields that are down in this area here are roughly 230 by 230, so this is a little bit bigger actually. And this pad here will generate in total about 2.5 acres of flat space. So where this is at right now is, this is pretty much a final draft, and with everybody's blessing, we'll take it forward and pursue the formal permitting process. Please.
We had a pond on the top version.
There is a pond here, and there's a little pond here. This one will go away, this one stays. There's an existing pond here just north of the parking lot, that will stay. No, sir, and there's no pond needed here. What's gonna happen is, this existing pond spillway will be improved a little bit, and there'll be, some rock drainage put in permanently, but because everything there is forest, if you will, now, and we're just replacing it with lawn, the way the calculations work in here, no permanent pond is needed. At least that's what we think at this minute. Sometimes when it goes forward through the permitting process, it might get some comments and whatnot, but we're pretty confident in this. Please.
I have a couple questions. So just kind of running through, starting up in the upper left with the retention pond. So just to clarify, that potential asphalt parking lot, you are not paving.
That's correct.
All right. So that would be potential something, but that pond is set up based on the ability to pave that in the future.
Correct.
Okay. The slopes around that, looks around the back, those like, it look like more like 2-to-1 around the back and side, and then between the fields, 3-to-1. When you say walkable 4-to-1, what's
Yep, all the fill slopes are 2-to-1, and I believe this is graded out of 3-to-1.
okay. Access driveways, where it looks like the larger field is off to the left there to access the field itself. Right there, right?
Yep, that's a rock construction entrance that's done right now.
Access to the field, where are they? And is it just on grade off of the road?
It's right on grade right here. This is an at grade match line and
What
same
about
thing here.
Okay.
All on grade.
Very good.
There's some cross sections here. This is one cross section across the whole thing. Right there, and then the smaller ones are here.
Okay.
And it gets actually cut right here.
And again, you're handling all permitting, all stabilization. We're done. It's all per township code. Nothing really needed from that.
Correct. When I'm done, it'll be at these grades. It'll be seeded, planted, and dagger disposal.
Okay. About how many total yards are we bringing in?
This plan here is about 240,000 yards.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
And just for everybody, I brought and I sent for your information. There's some hard copies up front. I think there's 5 or 6 copies. I'm gonna leave those there. And I sent electronic. This Google Earth and also 3 pages of the final submission, if you will, the permit set. If anybody wants to study or ask more questions, I can answer.
You did get them information to us, thank you. So just for people who maybe weren't here last time you came to the library.
Yeah.
You know, this project is essentially costing the district nothing. In fact, we're financially going to benefit from it, and we're ending up taking unused space and making it into useful space. If you have to summarize it.
Correct.
So we're not spending money to get this.
No. Yeah, it's a benefit to the expansion and you guys' willingness to have no mind about it.
It can possibly result in more sports fields for kids.
Absolutely.
So it's a win.
It's a win. Yes, please.
This is all a result of placeholders. So, so this is all a result of moving dirt in a strategic way, so that, with a little bit of vision, so you can get it permitted, and we can then have a plan, right? And then I just, and the softball field or baseball, field, those things kind of speculate about the way that, right? So once the district, it, you know, ultimately, that's what makes it a field. The specifications of what to do with it would be.
I can't honestly answer that other than to tell you there's enough footprint there. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we just
Yeah.
thought that first. And then in terms of the multi-purpose field, in theory, it would support, you said soccer, but in theory, it would also support lacrosse, field hockey, football, maybe, you know, unlimited uses, not to mention Big A for the, tennis school as well.
Yeah, you're gonna have a 3.5 acre pad there, and then when I had sketched out for the field, there is 400 by 220. So, I think the little, very, rudimentary knowledge I have, that's just roughly the size of a full size soccer field. So I think there's plenty of room there for them.
There really is a, you know, there really like what's happening in the tennis school, in terms of organizational purposes, and this is really that's the right obligation.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's a great question. We'll see how the permitting process goes. It's already, mid-September, so, nothing would really happen here realistically until April. Permitting 60, 90 days, that puts us in, Christmas, already, which is hard to believe, and then it's not a great time to start a project. It's my pleasure as Ms. Lynn said, it's a win-win, so, it's somewhat selfish for me, because I am part of the school district, so my kids could hear that from the pleasure. Good for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'm leaving some hard copies there for you. We have a great night.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is Jeff.
Good evening. Again, my name is Jeff Kessick. I'm with HRG. We were contracted to do the design for the access road to the middle school. Before I talk about the design, I wanted to at least get oriented on why we're here and why there is a new access road being proposed for the middle school. A little difficult to see, but up along here, where the pointer is, that's 228. High school is down here. You can just kind of see it in the parking lot. And then the middle school is up here in the upper right-hand side. 3 Degree Road is running up and down on your sheet here. As part of the ongoing PennDOT project that's going along State Route 228, the idea is to have a 5-lane section from Cranberry to Middlesex Township. This portion of 228, they're calling the 3 Degree Road section. So they're coming through here with a 5-lane section. With that, they're doing intersection improvements to the 3 Degree Road intersection, and also improvements up along 3 Degree Road that will impact the current entrance to the middle school. They are building auxiliary left turn lane that will extend past the current, you can kind of see with this hatch here, is the current entrance to the middle school. With that being extended, the left turn lane, that will restrict movements into that. You will not be allowed to make any movements out. And also concerned about queuing onto the new 228 widening. That entrance is being removed. With that being the full access entrance and the main entrance for the school buses, an alternate entrance needed to be evaluated and investigated. And that's where HRG comes into the situation here. We looked at design of a new access road that comes off the back side of the high school, or the middle school, apologize, at the baseball field. So if we can maybe jump to the next exhibit. Okay, again, just to get you oriented, the intersection we were talking about is kind of up in here, 3 Degree Road, 228. Here is the middle school. North is pointing to the right, so 3 Degree Road is running left to right on this page up here. Middle school, you can kind of see the track for the football field, and then here's the baseball field. So what's going to happen is on the back end of the parking lot, we're going to look to take a 24-foot wide access road with concrete curb on it from the corner of the parking lot out along kind of where the slope is. This is a steep grade down and heavily wooded. We're going to kind of hug that top of the bank there and hug right next to the batting cages and the bullpen with our road access drive up to, and what we're going to look at doing is reconfiguring Davison and Meredith intersection to create a new 4-way plus intersection by realigning Meredith and squaring it up with Davison and pulling everything together to create that nice 4-way intersection. The access drive is going to have its own set of drainage and inlets along here to collect any school runoff that ultimately drains from the access road and then from the intersection down to the low point right adjacent to where these batting cages are, and ultimately outlets into the stormwater management facility. There is going to be a sidewalk on the western side, so it connects the parking lot over to the baseball field. In addition to the sidewalk, there is going to be lighting on that as well to light that. The length of that access road is about 1,000 feet, and that's from the parking lot to the intersection, and then we've got the intersection roadway improvements as well. Part of this as well is there's impact to the existing gravel parking facility that's right adjacent to the baseball field. That will be mitigated and that will be widened out. Any impact that's happened with the access road will be taken into account, and that gravel area will be widened to accommodate this impacts. The intersection is designed to accommodate school buses. So the movements are, the intersection radii are large enough that the buses will not encroach on the other lanes. They'll be able to make the turn without encroaching onto the oncoming traffic. Yeah, so now the school buses will come down 3 Degree Road, make the right hand onto Davison, and then they get to this intersection, they'll obviously make the right, travel down the new access road. They'll be able to, currently now we have the angled parking and the 90-degree parking that really comes on that alleyway, come in front of the building, do their drop off, be able to make this turn and then exit back out the access road and make the left and then travel back on 3 Degree Road.
We're talking about the current entrance on 228 right back.
The one on 228. Yeah. If we mind jumping back to the other exhibit, I kind of glossed over that, but yeah, the entrance, it's very tough to see here with all the line work on here. But the existing entrance that's on 228 is going to stay right in, right out.
You want to just talk about the timing of what the planning to do in terms of fitting it?
Yeah, we're looking to advertise for bid, a public bid here at the end of this year. Solicit those bids and look to issue a notice to proceed sometime this summer with trying to do some of the work that doesn't affect any of school activities while school's in session, and then once school's out, that would be the bulk of the work that would impact any of the facilities or limit the exposure to affecting any kind of the student activities that go on in the school. Yes, yeah, the idea would be have everything accessible and paved by the end of, like, probably about this time frame before October of next year. Yeah, we would have to, well, we'll make sure we put that in there as a, end of September.
You may not lose the other entrance. Okay. I just want to make sure we get the other road before we need the one on.
Yeah.
Just curious, so
Yeah, I'm not sure of the timing of when 228 widening is in there, but the idea was to have all this done complete before that entrance is cut off.
what I was going to add was, when you said, hopefully, just want to be for from the school and schedule that. So hopefully this project will be done in 2022. And for those who navigate the school campus, it's important to know that except for the high school, on the other side of the Edwards Way, this driveway, and then Docks Way, you can navigate all of the schools that are on the northern side of 228 without actually having to go on to 228, which will be a huge benefit in 2023 when all of that major construction is happening right in front of our facility. So we'll still have to navigate the high school, but there is some thoughtful planning going in, knowing what a major impact that this makes on all the assets. I mean, here's where we headed to, but call for patience, but it also calls for planning. And I would really appreciate your help in helping us get through this. And with everything that goes to plan, we'll have routes that will hopefully point the major parts of the.
Yes, thank you.
Question I did have, with the baseball field impact, I know we're going to look at ADA compliance. Were we able to achieve ADA compliance around that field?
Yeah, if you don't mind jumping back to the other exhibit. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, with this mitigation of the parking lot, we're looking at putting a curb cut in here, right in this location here to provide overflow parking and use this gravel area as parking. And we did talk about adding a level pad here, concrete pad here for ADA accessible parking.
Our slope works. I know we were going to move that road rate slightly to make the slope situation work to get across the other side. Okay, great, thank you.
And then the subpoint.
It's sized now to account for obviously the road runoff, but we also did take a look at it. If there's any future expansion, we did size it for any kind of this future expansion. So we took that into account as well. So if you had any additional parking and more asphalt, we took that into account and made sure the lawn was sized large enough for that.
Baseball, football, brings it to that.
This drainage structure will, because we're intercepting it here and taking it in the pond, but this we were going to leave bypass and flow patterns that it does now. But it would just be this city, it's hard to see the system here being intercepted if we didn't let some dump it in the pond.
Well, just to clarify, if the sizing of that pond, you said expansion, would it handle the impervious surface of that entire post parking lot with the baseball field? That was paved right
Is
there. Would that pond support paving that parking lot?
Yes,
You would want to go back later.
right, yeah, we want to cut it in once and take into account any future.
Excellent, that's good.
And just to add, the access road and the intersection improvement, everything will be designed according to township standards. It's technically a driveway, but the intersection obviously is township, and so this will be designed, we're following driveway standards for the township.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Stephen, so we just have a shoot. Thanks for coming and presenting some future projects. And this is going to change more and more. Being on the agenda, is that enough to see the council? Yeah. Is there anyone from city council? Is there anyone from city council on Zoom? Maybe next week we'll get somebody from city council. Maybe on the agenda, we're on the public comment, agenda item only. Does anyone sign up for agenda item only? Someone sign up, anyone have public comment on agenda items only at this point? Anyone want to have public comment on agenda? This will be agenda items only, so it's on the agenda. So,
I'm on the here to say fucking minutes.
well, we're not gonna be belligerent with each other.
Oh, there's no.
You're not one of the freedoms that you want, I'm not gonna be belligerent. So all we're talking about right now is what we're voting on this evening on the agenda.
I'm just.
Brian, does anyone wish to have public comment on Zoom? Does anyone want to do public comment on Zoom? Agenda item? No. Right, moving on to the main agenda. Under approved minutes from August 2nd, August 10th, and August 17th. May I have a first and second?
Megan, so moved.
Sally, second.
First and second, board discussion comments. All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. That passes. Moving on to the main agenda under personnel, numbers 1 through 6. Personnel on the main agenda 1 through 6. First and second.
Kevin, so moved.
Steve, second.
Have a first and second board discussion comments. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That passes. On the main agenda, under finance, numbers 1 through 10. For the first and second.
Megan, so moved.
Sally, second.
Do I have a first and second, board discussion comment? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the main agenda, under programs. 1 through 4.
Anthony, so moved.
Steve, second.
Board discussion comments?
This is Megan. I just wanted to take note that under programs number 2 and 4, it's no cost to the district. We're getting to utilize students who are going to come in and provide benefit to our students here at Mars. But at the same time, Dr. Rick Gloucester is going to be overseeing them. So while there's no expense to the district, our employees are also doing more work in order to gain more benefit for our students. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Any other board discussion? For the programs numbers 1 through 4, first and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? The passes, policies, we have, grounds, none. The main agenda, other. 1 through 14. Numbers 1 through 15, have a first and second.
Steve first.
Kevin, second.
Any discussion, comments?
This is Megan. I just wanted to say thank you to the PTO for all their hard work and dedication, resulting in $16,810 worth of necessities in the district.
Any other board discussion, comments?
So Kevin, I'd like to thank Rhodes Orthodontics for their continued support for the Be the Kind Kids shirts. They've been sponsoring this, I believe, for 3 years now.
I'm just going to take Mark for great opportunity for students. $17,000 in technology. So we're almost up to $30,000 on and what we do is support the impact of our parents and our students, finding really critical and important education items for our students is absolutely amazing. And the generosity is thank you. $30,000 positive impact for our kids.
Thank you. Any other board discussion, comments? Have a first and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? That passes. Now we move on to the main agenda. Public comments. The way this is going to work, we have 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes. You just need to come up to your name, address, and then you have 2 minutes to say public comment. This is not public debate, it's not public shouting at each other, and it's not. If things do get out of hand, we'll do some vision. That's good decision. I'm not here to debate with somebody, I'm not here to be political with anybody. That we do have. So at this point, does anyone sign up for public comment?
Jen, Francesca.
My name is Jen Francesco, to Drive. I did want to just mention that I was told previously that there would be masks that was given at the time last week. And we have some folks down here not wearing masks, rolling under their chin, with the Trump mask sitting down on his chin. Just wanted to point that. For those that keep saying that mask mandates violate someone's personal liberty, there's a 150-year-old precedent for this. In 1905, a citizen argued in the Jacobson versus Massachusetts case that smallpox inoculation mandate infringed on his rights. But the Supreme Court upheld the Cambridge Board of Health's authority to require vaccine under the 10th Amendment. In July, a Florida court pointed to that 1905 case, as well as a ruling that mask ordinance does not violate any constitutional right. The circuit court judge wrote in his ruling, Quoting the Jacobson opinion. In every well-ordered society charged with the duty of serving the safety of its members, the rights of the individual in respect of his liberty may at times, under the pressure of great dangers, be subjected to such restraint to be enforced by reasonable regulations as the safety of the general public may demand. The Constitution gives the states the ability to protect the welfare, safety, and health of those in public and in the face of the global pandemic. Courts have found that mask mandates are justified measure. Professionals such as dentists, doctors, and nurses wear masks on a daily basis on their jobs for the patient's safety. The CDC website has provided a 5-page document which lists approximately 25 studies that have all been peer-reviewed. These studies provide scientific evidence that wearing a mask reduces one's risk of being exposed to COVID and transmitting it to others if infected. Children may have a lower chance of having a deadly outcome from COVID, but children can be infected with COVID. If infected, they can unknowingly bring that home to family members who may not have the option of getting vaccinated to protect themselves. It would be reckless at this point for our school district to stop enforcing a mask mandate. In less than 2 weeks, we have had over 40 cases of COVID in our school district, and those are just the ones that have been reported. If we have no mask mandate, no doubt those numbers will be higher. The Beaver Area School District has had to close 2 of its own schools because they had 60 students and 7 staff contract COVID. Our school district isn't far behind. Pediatric cases of COVID continue to rise with the Delta variant. In December, Butler and Cary hospitals activated their COVID-19 surge plan because they were at capacity for ICU beds. On August 20th, just less than a month from now, the ICU beds in our county is at 80% capacity. As of today, our county only has 6 ICU beds available and no pediatric beds. I once again like to thank the school for keeping the mask mandate and adhering to it. We want our children to continue to be in school and remain safe, and that needs to be the #1 priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Russell Rose.
Hi, good afternoon. You want my address?
Correct.
315 Clay Avenue, Mars, PA, 16046. I would also, I will start by also thanking you for clear communication on what you're expecting with this mandate. As I said in my email earlier this week, I can be very quick to send emails when I'm unhappy, but I also would like to be very quick to thank you when I am happy. So I very much appreciate the communication lately. And the building principals that I deal with have been fantastic all the way around, and my teachers all the way around. So again, I will say this meeting, thank you so much to them, to the people that are dealing with their children on a daily basis. They are wonderful. One thing that I've seen come up, and that I have questions on sometime, and I know that I've seen other people bring up that doesn't seem to be as clear, is quarantining guidelines. I know you can't answer the question right here and now, but that seems to be unclear to people, especially since masks are now mandated, how people are still quarantining, are they getting exposed at lunch, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just my thought that maybe something else could be sent out that makes things a little more clear. The flow chart doesn't seem to be working for everybody. So that's just a thought that I had. I don't know what it is. It's not so clear for everybody. I've just seen that being thrown around a lot. It doesn't seem to be clear. And instead of you getting 30,000 emails, I thought it should be brought up again. I also wanted to bring up, I've mentioned to you my son, who's extremely high risk for COVID. He's immunocompromised. He's 7 years old. He had several cases in his elementary class. It didn't go any further than those children. And my son is not sick. So that's all that I need to say. And I wanted you to know that. And I think that the reason for that is because of the efforts that we're making now. And I am so happy that the children in that class are safe. So I applaud you all for being brave and following the safety plan that you set forth in the beginning. Even though I was not happy in the beginning, I sent my kids to school even though I wasn't happy. And I trusted them, and trusted you with them, and I still trust you with them. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Joe Roder, 127, Dollywood Drive, Valencia. My junior daughter has told me that there's some staffing concerns. She was standing the first week of school in her French class and her math class. And I know you can't answer, wondering if those staffing concerns are trying to hire, going to be rectified. And also, I have a question in the elementary school level about specials. From my understanding, specials have been cut down to 30 minutes. And I hope that they increase either after the new year or next year back to an hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Organ, 1837 Liberty Way. Thank you for your time this week, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak again. I kind of was not going to come and give my thoughts again because I did last week on some medical statistics and medical law, and I thought I had enough of this. But something stuck with me after Dr. Rose's speech last week in response to all of the discussion we were having about the board's required to follow. And I get that completely, and I just couldn't get it past it, so I had to do some research on my own. It kind of intrigued me as to why. And I'm not going to say what I'm for or against, I could care less if it were against. I'm just personal choice. I needed to understand what the role of the board was and the responsibilities you guys have and the authority that you're given. So I just kind of went and did some research and found through the state's websites and everything's there that you guys are, the school district is governed locally by the school board, and you're delegated your powers by the state's legislator and authority to develop the policies, rules, and procedures that you need to in order to run the school. One of the sites noted you were an extension of the state legislator, and I thought that was interesting. And I also found that the U.S. Constitution doesn't mention anything about education, so the federal government's role is kind of secondary to the state's regulations. I didn't realize how much power was really given to a local school board and how much you all represent the people here. So by extension, how much local power we all have in our own children. But after I read it, I kind of had more questions as to why we weren't doing more. There was a clear direction by a large majority of the district to keep the schools open, let the kids live free, they have a personal choice. But we didn't seem to follow that. Like, we kind of circumvent the law. This mandate was put in place, circumventing the legislative process and ultimately circumventing your authorities as the local board. And I just couldn't get past that. And I'm just thinking, what are we going to do about this? Like, how much authority is going to be taken away from us locally to run our kids the way we see fit, since we know our children the best? I don't know what's the threshold for the board to kind of stand up with the other state legislators and the other school boards around that have decided to either verbally condemn the process, not necessarily the content, but the process, or to fight this and say, you're usurping our roles and responsibility. We're not going to be needed if you continue to do this. So there will be no need to have all of this forum if all of that is just taken away by a stroke of the pen. I really hope that we can kind of get back to education and not so much of all of this. And I'm sure the teachers and students are not happy about this as well.
That's your 3 minutes.
I agree. And I just think we all have the power to change this locally.
Thank you. That's all. That's all. We'll go to the room. Is there anyone in the room who should have another comment at this point?
Hello, I would just like to say,
I just need your name and address.
Lisa Radapan, address 670 Deer Creek Road, Valencia.
You have 3 minutes.
I would like to say thank you from the beginning when you gave us our choice. Now, I understand that the state came in and they said, this is what you have to do. Now, I do not co-parent with the government. I believe that especially my youngest son, is having the hardest year that he's ever had. He's in 4th grade, and this year is the first time he's ever looked at me and asked me to pull him from school. He has gotten straight A's his entire school career because he cannot wear a mask. He is also, excuse me, also I've done a lot of research. These masks, you breathe in your own carbon dioxide. There is more, you breathe in more of your own carbon dioxide in 3 minutes wearing this mask than is allowed by OSHA for grown adults to work in over 8 hours. That is child abuse. It is ridiculous and it is uncalled for. At some point, all of you who were voted in by all of us need to stand up and say, I am not going to do what the government wants just because it has a hard hand. I appreciate all that you do, but I will not just stand back and watch as my child suffers because all of you do not want to use that backbone and stand up to the government.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the room wish to speak at this point?
Aaron Starkey, same address,
Just say your address for me, please.
670 Different Road. I just want to say, the United States defines terrorism as the United States has defined terrorism under the Federal Criminal Code, Title 18 of the United States Code. Defines terrorism as in section 2331 of chapter 113B, defines terrorism as activities that involve violent or life-threatening acts that are a violation of the criminal laws of the United States or of any state and appear to be intended to 1. Intimidate or coerce a civilian population, which is civilian, or to influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Lost my place. Or to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction, assassination, or kidnapping, and C. Occur primarily within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States. Y'all terrorists.
Thank you.
I didn't know you saw it right here, right now.
Does anyone else in the room wish to have another comment? Everyone on Zoom, see one another? Everyone on Zoom, is there anyone on Zoom?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Beth Ziegler, 2039 Golden Grove Drive, Mars, PA 16046. I'm actually not going to talk about masking. I think the district and Dr. Gross made it very clear since July, if there's a mandate, we won't be reckless, we will comply. In addition, I don't think the district pursuing any kind of litigation is a good use of taxpayer funds for a district that has budget struggles and a district that has taxpayers both for and against the mandate. If people are upset about the mandate, they're welcome to use their personal funds to fight it through the appropriate avenues. It is going through the courts, one way or the other. It will be decided. So I just wanted to thank you guys for following your safety plan and enforcing and following the mandate. But anyways, moving on to my real point, which I'm concerned that this, constant fight over masking is really getting away from the issues at hand in our district. But I wanted to turn to curriculum. Last year, my husband and I were really disappointed that library and art were cut from the kindergarten curriculum for our daughter. So this year, our son is in kindergarten, and we were absolutely thrilled on the first day of school when his teacher told us that kindergarten would once again have art and library classes. We think this is a super important part of the curriculum, and I just wanted to take the time and thank you guys all for bringing it back. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the Zoom world want public comment? Does anyone in the room want to have a second shot at public comment? Seeing none, we're gonna move on. That was it for public comment, so thank you for the public comment, and that was, it's a wrap, sometimes we have to do public comment, but we do appreciate it. Moving on to the agenda. Yeah, if you come to the mic, that way.
Good evening. I just wanted to say that our students have been adapted well to the new school year, and as well as the changes that have been coming along with the year. Please note that the teachers, the parents, secretaries, custodians continue to keep our students' well-being and learning in the forefront. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. We did have a closed session prior to this meeting, and we were going to have a closed session afterwards for legal and personnel. Moving on the agenda, Dr. Bird.
Yeah, I would just like to acknowledge that things can be tense sometimes. We're still Mars, still a community. All in all, your students all come together and represent us. Disagreements are going to happen, but as I continue to share, try not to personalize issues that are in control. Kids are watching, students are watching. We're listening. One thing I do want to say is I want to thank the parents that I've spoken to over the past week. I've had Zoom meetings. I've had in-person meetings. I've had phone conversations. And I can tell you this emphatically, there is power in listening, and there's extreme power in communication. If we just pause and not personalize, I can tell you, there are folks out there that I have spoke to a woman on Zoom yesterday, probably for an hour. She needs us. She definitely needs us. I'm trying to work with her to resolve the issues with her children because they're very specifically different and they're challenged in some ways that some folks can't relate to. And I just want to encourage anyone that has a specific issue, and I'm sad to see our one public speaker left, because I would encourage anyone whose child is struggling, please don't get angry. Any of us, I'm a parent too, mine are older. We become mama and papa bears rather quickly. We do not want to hurt your children. We want to work with you. And if we're doing something and it's called to our attention, it's just not comfortable or not working, we will work with you. We have worked numerous situations through just over the past week. I really wasn't anticipating the whole one. I have colleagues across the state that talked about how horrible and divisive the board meetings get contentious. You know, we weren't perfect this evening, we sure as heck are showing that we're a lot better than a lot of folks are doing. But the power of communication, the power of active listening. We will actively listen. We will communicate what we believe we can do. We will listen to you and hopefully try to find middle ground. And I can emphatically state this past week, we greatly minimized a lot of individual issues with students. Are there still some out there? Yeah, maybe folks reluctant to give us a call or come on in. I will schedule a Zoom if you can come in, we can meet, we will discuss other principals involved. Our principals are fantastic in working through those issues too. Even though we're doing this thing called trying to comply, we're trying also to realize that the number one priority is dealing with students, and they come in all shapes, sizes, differences, and all various needs. So I just want to thank the parents that I spoke to over the past week. That's probably what most of my time was. But those conversations are extremely powerful. We just get on the same page with folks and realize that even though things may not be 100% the way we want, it is not personal. We're all trying to do the same thing. We want to come in, do our job, be respected and needed. You want that as parents, you want that of your children, children want that of us. So I just want to emphasize that. Again, I wish the individuals here this evening said that fourth grade child is struggling. Law says we are in loco parentis in school, which means in place of the parent. So we do our best to parent your children, mother here, and nurture them as much as possible. And we need your support to do that. So I just want to thank the folks that are communicating with us, and I hope folks in the community continue to keep those communications. Thank you, Dr. Ms. Branstad?
I have no report tonight. I do have open house, curriculum night Thursday, so if you want a good opportunity to see the good things going on in the classroom and what to expect at the middle school, please attend our open house. I believe high school is tomorrow night, so thank you.
Thank you. Morgan? No report. Thanks. Josh?
No.
Any other indicators that I missed? Moving on to board.
Let's take a minute to communicate. This communication is important, as I explained. I just want to share with the public that we did receive a letter since our last board meeting from the Executive Director of PA Association Intermediate Units. His name is Dr. John George. And in it, this letter was sent to all school boards across the state of Pennsylvania. He explained, dear colleagues, I've become aware that the Secretary of Education has issued a warning to the boards of directors of the school district that chose not to comply with the Department of Health order for face coverings. While I believe this is the first warning issued to date, I suspect that this warning is likely to be replicated for other districts that willingly choose to violate the face covering order. The following warnings/notices are likely to be issued to other school boards that do not comply with the order. Number 1, failure to implement and follow the control measures under the order subjects each board member to the penalty provisions of the Disease Prevention and Control Law of 1955. A violation occurs each day that the order is not enforced, and each board member may be charged with a financial penalty for each student or staff member attending the school. Number 2, failure to implement and follow the control measures under the order exposes each board member to personal liability under 42 PA CS 8550, relating to willful misconduct, as well as other remedies and actions as provided by the law. PDE serving notice to each board member that failure to comply with the mask order is a violation of the law. A knowing violation may be used by a plaintiff to establish personal liability in a negligence action for 42 PA CS 8550. Number 3, each board member may face lawsuits from those who may be affected by non-compliance with the order, including children who may become ill as a result of the district's violation, or disabled children who are unable to attend school because of the district's failure to follow the order. Number 4, each board member may bear potential liability with no indemnification or protection. Number 5, school districts' liability insurers are exploring canceling coverage as a result of those districts' possible illegal conduct and potential purposeful violations of the law. School districts' violations of the law may negatively affect workers' compensations, claims, and coverage and premium calculations. Number 7, school districts that do not comply with or elect to violate the law may be referred to the United States Department of Education Office for Civil Rights Investigation. In particular, failure to comply with the order may prevent immunocompromised and other susceptible students from attending class in violation of the IDEA, ADA, and the Rehabilitation Act. Number 8, employees who report non-compliance may be entitled to protection under the state whistleblower law. So I'm communicating that with all of you today so you understand a little bit more about some additional information that we as board members have been given. And again, any school district that is choosing not to comply with the mask mandate is willfully and knowingly in violation of the law. One of the comments is that as a school board of directors, each of us took an oath of office. And in it states, I, esteemed ones, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and Constitution of this Commonwealth. And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. That's all I should. Thanks, John.
This is Megan. Very quickly, I come from a family that holds public service as an extreme value, something that my husband and I live out every day, not only in our volunteer work, but in our jobs as well. To echo Mrs. Morgan, I would love to go back to just discussing education. When I ran for the board, I never would have imagined that I would spend 2 years dealing with COVID. This isn't something that any of us would have ever thought was going to be a thing. You can follow the chain of command too. You can contact your state rep. You can go to Harrisburg. There seems to be an idea that we can choose whether or not to follow this mandate, and we're threatening personal liability if we don't. Thank you, Dr. Gross, the administration, teachers, and support staff for taking the hits and caring for our children. We very appreciated what we do every day.
Any other board comments?
If anybody knows the folks who passed, somebody does know them, you could ask them to please contact Dr. Gross. They have an individual situation as occurred, we'd love to be able to. Thank you for your time.
Mark, I'll put the comments in. Any other board comments? I think
Oh my God, just sitting in the ground. Stop me.
There you go.
What I would like to say is I would like to thank the Mars and Pine Hilton, JROTC, for continuing the tradition of the 9/11 Memorial Drive in March. Annual remembrance that was started back by the Thomas family. And their three sons graduated, picked up by the Ferguson family. And when my three sons graduated, it was then transferred, and the JROTC has done an excellent job for the past 2 or 3 years in continuing that tradition. It is important, and I know our community appreciates it, and I hope it's being involved in a long time. I know that the students enjoy doing it, and that we hope that's about. Everybody knows that ours belongs here.
any other board? There's a lot of things coming up.
That's the right thing. Your homecoming is right around the corner. And again, don't forget the open houses, Mr. Folks talked about this week in the middle school, high school.
Any motion to adjourn?
Megan, so moved.
All in favor, aye?
Need a second.
Oh, sorry. I'm all excited. Second.